Okay, so there's actually a lot of movies coming out this week, and I got a chance to see a couple of them early. So we're going to talk about all three of them. They have really nothing in common except for the fact that I like all of them, actually. Surprising. Let's start with the one that I think has the most buzz, X by Ty West. Now, there's going to be a common theme here with these movies, or at least two of them for sure. I had no idea what this movie was about. I knew it was by A24, and I knew it was a horror movie. That's it. I did see the trailer. However, I did not remember a thing about the trailer. So I was like, okay, it's a horror movie. I heard it's a little gory. Like, sure, I'm down. I'll go to the screening. Why not? So I go to it, not knowing anything about the movie, as I just said. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm watching the movie and all of a sudden fucking titties are just like in my face. I was like, whoa, what is happening? I'm gonna lead that right into a transition of, if you don't know what X is about, it's about a group of people who are basically making a porno. They go to like a ranch or a barn, or whatever you like to call it, to stay there. And the owners, an old man and old woman, don't know that they're out there making a porno, but that's what they're doing. So, Kid Cudi be fucking. X is pretty good. It was a good time. Similar to a movie that I also liked and fresh in terms of balancing tones and genres, this movie does the exact same thing. There are times where it's really funny. I mean, the director of this porno keeps talking about how he's making independent cinema and how much he loves the power of cinema. That shit is hilarious. It does balance it pretty well. I mean, the first half is pretty much just like a kind of like a raunchy comedy in a way. Like, yeah, there's like hints that something else is going to happen and something's going to turn, but a lot of it is pretty poppy. And then the second half comes and it turns into a straight slasher, and then you are pretty much hooked. And yeah, it's pretty gory. However, it's not like a torture porn type shit where that's the one that I really can't stand. I just don't enjoy those movies. This one is not that. So the gore is fine. That's a weird sentence to say. Anyways, so this movie is a good time. Like, for sure, this movie is a good time. I recommend it. It is one that is growing in my estimation as time has kind of progressed on it. So it is a fun time. I will say, and maybe it's because I didn't know anything about this movie, it took me a while to really get on the wavelength of this movie, because it's set in like the late 1970s and they're in Texas. At least that's where they're shooting, so they have some of these accents, and I just like knowing some of the actors, I'm just like, okay, like that's obviously not how you talk. So I was like, and once again, I knew nothing about this, so everything was very like jarring to me, so maybe that's the reason why, but it took me a little bit to get on its wavelength. But once it did, I think it goes really well. Now, this is a pretty weird movie. Honestly, I can see a lot of people giving this like 1 star and a lot of people giving it 4.5. For me, I'm going to split the difference right in. X for now, 3.5 stars. This is a fun time. This is a fun movie. I think a lot of people will really like this one, actually. I think this could easily pick up a following. And Jenna Ortega, maybe a new screen queen. I'm free next week. Let's move on to Deep Water, a deeply troubling movie, at least from everything that you heard of. It's directed by Adrian Lyne, who is probably best known for directing Fatal Attraction. He's known for these kind of like, he focuses on like erotic thrillers, if I can just put it simply. And this movie stars Ana de Armas and Ben Affleck. Most notably, this was during the time where they were dating. So it is hard to get that out of my head while watching. Now, this movie is not very good. I really liked it. This movie is real messy. You don't really understand why the characters do what they do. And most egregiously, the third act is like appalling. The third act, I was like laughing. I was like laughing in my seat, just like watching this exact seat, looking at this monitor, watching it. I was laughing in the third act. Tracy Letts, who is also, plays a character in here, just makes some decisions, in like a high tense situation that I was just cracking up. I couldn't get enough of it. This movie was so much fun. Now, I haven't seen like any of the reviews for this coming out yet. I assume a lot of them are going to be really bad. And I'm not going to argue that at all, because this movie is messy. Like I said, the characters, they're very one note. You don't understand why they're doing anything that they're doing. I had a good time. I'm sorry. I just had a good time. I couldn't get out of my head that Ana de Armas and Ben Affleck were dating, like for that period of time. And seeing Ben Affleck as this guy who's like just kind of losing it. And he has like a snail garden for like no reason. Like, once again, I did not put too much thought into this. Maybe the snails, or I'm sure the snails have like a deeper meaning. I gotta be honest, guys, like I just don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck what the snails represent. I don't give a fuck about anything. This movie was so much fun. Now there's like I said, it is an erotic thriller. So there are some shit now. There's some shit in here, and Ana de Armas just looking bad as fuck. God damn it. Like, respectfully, she could like ruin my life. But anyways, Deep Water, not very good. I had a very good time though. So therefore, it is like pretty good in my mind. Now, because of the third act, if there wasn't for the third act, I would actually give this like higher. But the third act is really bad. And I know a lot of people are not going to like this movie. I am not one of them, surprisingly. Deepwater for me, 3 stars. This was a good time. I think everyone should watch this movie. I think it will be hilarious. This movie is like, it's kind of insane. Yeah, watch it. And lastly, we have The Outfit, directed by Graham Moore, who is the writer, Oscar-winning writer of The Imitation Game. A good movie, by the way. I don't know if that's like an unpopular opinion. I feel like I see that on film Twitter a lot. Imitation Game is good. Don't know what you guys are talking about. I was very interested in this movie because all I heard was that it's very twisty and it's shot in one location, which is all true. And I'm very interested in one location movies, as you can see from my love of Mass. But more importantly, not just because it's one location, it really forces the filmmaker to really stretch his or her imagination. You know, whenever you're restricted on one aspect of a movie, you know, it's kind of interesting to me. It appeals to me. And kind of going along some of these other movies that I just mentioned, The Outfit is also pretty solid. It's a good movie. A bunch of solid movies coming out this week. Now, will this movie blow your mind or anything? I mean, personally, to me, no. I know the twists that everyone is expecting can be a little interesting, and maybe some people will lose their mind over it. Personally, not for me. I think the audience that I saw it with actually responded fairly well to it, so maybe this will be a bigger hit than I think. At least in terms of reception and box office, I have no fucking clue. I think the performances are good. It is set in the late 1950s, so I will say seeing Zoe Dutch and Dylan O'Brien, it was a little weird because I'm just like, yo, they know how to use Instagram. They know how to use Twitter. I don't really buy it. However, like with X, we have to get on the wavelength. Once I was on the wavelength, and you know, because Dylan O'Brien's kind of talking in an accent that slips in and out, it's a little weird. But you start vibing with the movie. And there are some great moments of tension and suspense. Shit that you're genuinely interested in. Things that you're genuinely like, how are they going to get out of this situation? And I'm not saying a lot about this movie because I don't want to. Once again, like with X, I knew nothing about this movie. I just knew Mark Rylance was in it, Dylan O'Brien. I knew the cast. I knew that he was like a tailor or cutter or whatever you want to call it. It was like he makes suits. And that's all I knew. It kind of just gives you that. It just gives you a good thriller. You know, like a good, less than 2 hours, you know, a good way to spend the afternoon, go to dinner, and you're done. You don't even think about it anymore, really. And honestly, we need more solid movies. We need more solid movies that aren't also up for Oscars. We just need more solid movies, okay? And this is exactly that. This is a fairly straightforward thriller. And by straightforward, I don't mean that, like, you understand the twist coming. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I just mean it doesn't break any new barriers with this. It is just a nice, twisty drama, suspenseful thriller with some fun writing, some fun performances. People are having a good time. I'm in between ratings right now, but I guess I'll be nice. The Outfit, 3.5 stars. Arguably, I may have enjoyed Deepwater more than The Outfit, but The Outfit is just a clearly better, well-made movie, and I still really enjoyed it, so like, I gotta rate it higher. But yeah, that's just some of the movies coming out this week. Actually, there's even more coming out that I didn't even get a chance to see. So this week, there is like a lot of movies, no big one, but there's a lot of solid ones out there. So I hope you guys check them out. And stay tuned because the Oscars are in like a week and a half as of when I'm recording. So we're gonna have a lot of Oscar content, which I know is what you guys want. PGA coming soon, WGA, ASC, and obviously the Oscars. Dude, all I could think about was like Kid Cudi's Day and Night. Like, every time I saw him on screen, dude, it could not get out of my head.